Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of the Godless Smegcast. We finally got to episode 10 and there was a time I never thought I'd even get to episode 1. Thank you very, very much everybody for subscribing, for listening. I hope you all enjoyed the last episode with Oz Atheist Jim. Real nice guy, firefighter, someone who I immediately had a lot of respect for. So if you don't follow him already, follow him at Oz Atheist Jim. Today we're going to depart from the norm. We're not got the 20 questions today. Basically, I've got three long-time followers. K_Cloudburst, aka Keith, at Slicks1812, aka Matt, and returning for his second appearance on the Smegcast is Neil E. Barry 1984. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good, thanks Neil.
All good?
Yeah, very well.
Excellent, okay. Now, I know, Neil, you've been on my podcast before, and we did cover a little bit of what we're going to cover today with you, but that doesn't mean we're not going to do it again. Because,
of course not. It's Red Dwarf.
It's Red Dwarf. But Keith and Matt, is this your first appearance on the on any podcast?
Yeah, it is, yeah. No podcast. I've never appeared on any podcast at all, ever.
You're my first.
Right, so I'm breaking two people's cherries tonight. Okay, well,
steady on, Neil.
As I said to Oz Atheist Jim, I will be gentle with you, or be a little bit harder on Neil, because he's used to me by now, aren't you, mate?
I am, yes, for my sins.
Okay, so just for people who don't follow you, who have never heard of you, who wouldn't know you if they were pissing on you, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves and, give us some background, who you are, etc.? We'll start off with Neil, just to remind the Smegcast listeners who never listened to episode 3.
Nah, how dare they not? I'm Neil from normally Wet Wales, big Red Dwarf fan. Like my sport, like my computers. Been following Mr. Smeghead for a while now. Learn lots from him daily.
Stop it.
Gotta give him a bit of a big head, haven't we?
Stop it.
That's me in a nutshell.
That's you in a nutshell, right, okay. Matt, Mr. Lathan.
Yes. Well, I'm Matt Lathan, 25, from Gloucester. Just love talking to people on Twitter. It's so much better than Facebook, and love gaming as well.
You love gaming, right? Are you a PS3 or an Xboxer?
PS3 all the way.
All right. Well, I shall have to add you. I am also a PS3er. And you come from Gloucester. I just have one thing to ask you, because I've been to Gloucester a few times, Matt.
Yeah.
Why do people put the word luck on the end of everything?
I have no idea.
I've often wondered that.
Other than good luck, I don't see the point.
No, I don't either. But I actually knew someone quite intimately who lived there, and I went to her house a couple of times, and everyone I talked to put the word luck on the end of everything. So that's my memory of Gloucester, apart from it being a beautiful city. It was gorgeous. And last, but by no means least, my old mate, Keith Cloudburst. Keith, welcome.
Thanks, Neil. Yeah, Keith, 40 something, live in Chester, big Red Dwarf fan, love poker, love playing backgammon, gaming. As far as up to now, the little fella, my little lad, has just bought Skylanders for the Wii, and oh my god, I'm so addicted to it. It is an unbelievable game. It costs a fecking fortune, but it is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I don't know if you want to add me to your Skylanders little list there, Neil, but yeah, I've been following Neil for a long time, ever since he had toothache, and I prescribed whiskey, and then found out that he was a teetotaler, which was kind of went down like a lead balloon. Absolutely hate my job, but there you go. Two lovely little boys, a gorgeous wife who I've been married to now for 26 years. And yeah, that's about me. Live in Chester, love Chester, got two mental dogs, love walking them too.
And listens to me while you're walking them.
And yeah, you are in my ear quite a lot while I'm walking them, which is quite amazing, really, when you see people walking past and I'm kind of bent up laughing and they're going, he must be a total smeghead. He is. What is he doing there?
Laughing? You actually laugh at... Well, yeah, I can imagine you're laughing at me because I sound like a 14-year-old.
Not at all, mate. Not at all.
Like, a lot older than that. Anyway, guys, welcome. Keith, you and I have spoken many times before on the phone, and of course I've spoken to Mr. Barry before on the Smegcast. But Matt, pleasure to talk to you finally. You've been a long-time follower.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and guys, first of all, I want to know, why do we all love Red Dwarf so much?
Well, that's a tough one. To be honest with you, I think I stumbled on Red Dwarf around about episode 2. And to be honest with you, again, it was the first time I'd seen like a main character with a Scouse accent. So I thought, what's going on here then? So and from then onwards, it's just been Red Dwarf all the way for me.
Right, well, you could have turned to Channel 4 and watched Brookside. There's plenty of characters with Scouse accents.
Yeah, but that's not really right, is it, Brookside? I prefer to have a Scouse a couple of million years into space on some sort of mining ship than, I don't know, some kind of, no, don't do soaps. That's one thing I don't do. I don't do soaps.
I think that's a difficult question to answer as well, but I suppose it's a great British comedy that's been going for ages. My parents brought me a DVD of Series 7. And kind of watching it, the characters confused the hell out of me, because obviously I hadn't seen it from Series 1.
Mm-hmm. So you started with Series 7?
Yeah.
Right. So when you started it, how much exposure had you had to the characters and Red Dwarf itself? Did you have much exposure to it?
No, I don't think I hadn't seen much of it before. Just kind of a couple of clips or a few minutes of different episodes, but nothing major.
Presumably, you've gone back and watched all the series.
Yeah, I watched every single episode, and I just love it.
Yeah. What's your favourite?
Difficult question, because there's so many good episodes. From Series 10, I think Lemons is my favourite. Overall, I
love Trojan.
Yeah, Trojan's good.
Love Trojan, love Lemons, love the beginning. The other 3 episodes were funny, but a lot better than anything Series 7 and 8. Keith, what's your favourite episode?
Favourite episode? To be honest with you, episode 10, the last load of episodes, I really need to go back and give them another watch, but to be honest with you, I'm the first couple of series really got me absolutely hooked. Really liked Queeg, really liked Back to Life. To be honest with you, I'm still thinking that why the hell haven't they kind of made a film? I was only listening to the books, the audio books the other day, and although the TV series are brilliant, absolutely brilliant, the book is really good as well. It's a lot darker, a lot less humour in it than the books. So when the TV series kind of touched on the books, they were the ones I really liked. White Hole is another one of my favourites, where he goes on about the Scouse drinking pit and all that business. So yeah.
Yeah. So the audiobooks, as I remember, they came on 2 tapes. Now they're abridged. Have you actually read the books themselves? Have you read the actual hard copies?
Yeah, I've read the hard copies, and then, like I say, bought the tapes. And I was looking on. I think I was looking on Amazon not so long ago to see if I could download them, into like a CD format, and I don't think they actually do them. I don't know what's going on there, but unless I'm looking in the wrong places, so I'm going to have to get some sort of converter and convert the tapes to digitize the tapes or something.
Okay, guys. So obviously we've all got our favourite episodes. I mean, I asked you that question, didn't I, Neil? Just refresh mine. Certainly mine, because I've got a memory like a bloody sieve. But refresh everybody's memory what your favourite episode was. It was Back to Reality, as I recall, wasn't it?
Well, it's Back to Reality and Gunman of Apocalypse I mentioned from memory.
Yeah, we settled on Gunman. Yeah, that's right. We settled on Gunman, but we talked about Back to Reality a little bit, didn't we?
We did indeed.
And one of the reasons why I've invited you back on here, Neil, is because I was such a rookie editing that episode. I edited out far too much and only left you with about half an hour of time. So I wanted you back to give you a little bit more, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, okay. So, with regards to your favourite characters, who would you say they are? I mean, it's such a... I've got to say mine's Rimmer. He's my favourite character.
Really?
Yes.
Do you kind of what do you associate with him or something there, Neil?
No, he's just funny. But he's got that very vulnerable undercurrent. He's a vulnerable guy and he's very, very easy to hurt. But if you think about it, in a pinch, he does come through.
He's a total twat.
Yes, he's a twat, and he's a gimboid, and he's a goit, and he's a smeghead. I know, but he's my favourite character because to me, he's really funny. Most of my favourite lines come from his mouth.
Yeah, I can kind of see where you're going there. I mean, Lister wouldn't be Lister unless it was Rimmer. Unless he was with Rimmer, I suppose. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah. Favourite character, probably not, but there you go.
Oh, I do love... But it's not so much Rimmer that's my favourite character. It's Chris Barry's portrayal of Rimmer that I love so much. That's one of the factors in it.
Yeah, I can. Well, I know when they were talking about there was supposed to be, I don't know if it was like an underground whisper or something like that they were supposed to be doing a big Hollywood movie of Red Dwarf. And I don't know if I dreamt this, read it, or what have you, but they kind of had the cast down, and I don't know who they got to play Rimmer, but I was thinking to myself, that just ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. It's like that Back to Reality thing, you know, when they look through the viewer and there's other people playing Lister's character and Rimmer's character and the cat's character, and you think, it's just without the actors who play that character, I don't think Red Dwarf would work.
I think Doug. I mean, I could be wrong, guys, but. From what I read at the time that Doug was trying to get the movie made, I read that he was absolutely digging his heels in about who was going to play the main characters, and he was digging his heels in for the original cast, and I quite applaud that because, like Keith said, I don't think it really would have worked with anybody else.
So I was just saying that I agree with that. Yeah, it just wouldn't be the same without the original characters.
I mean, I can't really see George Clooney playing the cat, or, I don't know, Brad Pitt playing, I don't know, Rimmer.
Well, if you think about it, before Craig Charles and Chris Barry were even cast, I think Alfred Molina was cast to play Lister, and Alan Rickman was cast to play Rimmer. And now just think how it would have been if that would have turned out. I mean, Alan Rickman and Alfred Molina have gone on to much, much greater things in terms of celebrity status, you know. But just imagine how Red Dwarf would have turned out if those two would have been cast.
I don't think it would have worked. I really don't think it would have worked. And I mean, nobody's mentioned Bob Llewellyn either. I mean, as far as Crichton goes, I don't think they could have picked a better character to play Crichton.
Well, he very much made it his own, didn't he?
Absolutely. Neil, just on the side, what happened? The first actor who played Crichton, the first actor that played Crichton, what happened there? Have you got any idea why he never came back to recreate that character, or was it just?
I'm not that much of a Red Dwarf anorak. I'm not sure. I suppose I could go and look it up on Wikipedia, but I really don't know. Do any of you guys know the answer to that?
No.
No idea at all.
Right, well, I'm sure Mr. Crichton K will probably give us some nuggets of information on that. And there we go. We mentioned him because we said we were going to. So, hello, Mr. Crichton K.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Crichton K, you total smeghead, you. Yeah, no, he's a great guy. He's an absolute great guy, and he's been following me on Twitter since I've been on Twitter. So yeah, he's a great guy.
You read his tweets in Crichton's voice as well. I mean, I certainly do in my head. Yeah,
but then again, though, Neil, I read your tweets in your accent as well, which is odd.
All right, yeah, I read yours in yours as well. And I've started to read Neil's in Neil's.
Yeah, that's a bit odd, that. Maybe we're getting a little bit too deep into this Twitter thing. Do you not think?
It's like I've got a friend, a real life friend called Hannah, and once she tweeted in capital letters one word, shopping, and I actually read it in an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Why? Does she sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, it's because there's a scene in Commando where the girl that he's with, who's helping him, says, "Where are we going?" And he goes, "Shopping."
Oh, Neil, you promised you do no more. You do no more impersonations.
That was a one-word impersonation. I can get away with that.
All right, then. It is your podcast. I beg your pardon.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's the first one down, anyway.
That's the first.
For God's sake, nobody asked him to do Ronald Reagan.
An excellent suggestion, sir, with just 2 minor drawbacks.
Top dollar.
You got to do it in Spearhead 3 now.
No, that was Spearhead 4, actually. That was Spearhead 4. Anyway, back onto the subject. Okay, so, who would you say, in terms of, how can I put it, comedy, whose lines do you laugh at the most? Whose lines do you think are the funniest? And we'll start off with Matt, because we've not heard from Matt for a little while.
I'd say Rimmer comes up with some great lines.
Thank you.
I think it's just for the fact that kind of, in a way, it's kind of the character you sort of love to hate, but you don't actually hate him. It's for the fact that everybody else winds him up.
Yeah.
And I think just his responses are brilliant.
Keyboard teeth.
Metal Munchkin.
Metal Munchkin. I actually liked Howard Rimmer's own description of his brother. But you were always a total twat! That's one of the reasons why the word twat is so beloved to me, because the funniest time I'd ever heard it at the time was in Red Dwarf, when Rimmer said, "Well, I say let's get out there and twat it."
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. But I don't think they ever... I mean, if you think about it, Doug and Rob never really thought about continuity, because if they did, Lister wouldn't have had 2 appendices.
That's true.
Because he had them removed twice. Once by Legion and once in... Oh, God, it escapes me the name of the episode.
You see, that episode, Legion, that kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Why, the guy in the rubber suit?
Yeah, that was just, where all the characters were kind of, I don't know, melting out of him, when they were knocking each other out, which was absolutely another fantastic scene when they were trying to knock Crichton out with a chair.
Yeah.
And all that business. That wasn't it. But
Rimmer. Rimmer out with a chair.
Rimmer out with a chair, beg pardon, yeah. But it was a little bit of a freaky episode, that was. I thought that was, yeah.
So it wasn't wish fulfillment for being in the rubber suit?
No. Don't go there with rubber suits, Neil. No.
Okay. One thing I do want to bring up, and this is something that has been on my mind for a little while with regards to Red Dwarf, and specifically Series 11, is I would love them to get Holly back, but I'd like them specifically to get Hattie back. I think we discussed this on our podcast, didn't we, Neil?
Yes, we did.
We did, yeah. And I'd like to see them have Holly back, but actually as Hattie and not Norman. Because I think she deserves another shot at it.
Yeah, you see, I quite like Hattie. The only reason I like Hattie is because, many moons ago, she was playing a stand-up gig in a bar in Chester called Alexander's. So we went to see her, and I've never done this before. I don't kind of do the whole stardom thing, but after she'd finished and she went back to her dressing room, I kind of followed her and said, "Look, Hattie, do us a favour. Can you sign me beer mat?" I think it was a beer mat or a napkin or something like that. Anyway, she signed it. She said, "You Red Dwarf fan?" And I went, "Yeah." And she gave me a big sloppy kiss and signed to "Keith, you lovely old smeghead. You love Hattie Hayridge." And From that day, I've just been completely and utterly besotted with Hattie Hayridge. But on the back note of that, I think Norman made a better Holly, if you know what I mean. Some of his lines were absolutely brilliant as well. Yeah,
I would... You see, my problem with Norman is not his portrayal of Holly. I think that's wonderful. My problem with Norman is he's not a very nice guy.
Yeah, we've mentioned this before. You've mentioned this before, and I've kind of followed him on Twitter and then unfollowed him and followed him and unfollowed him. And are you prepared to elaborate on this, Neil, or is that as far as you want to go?
He's been rather vocal about his colleagues, about his fellow actors, and about Rob and Doug, and continually they've given him chance after chance after chance, and they've even promoted his tours and his various ventures on the Red Dwarf website, which I think is really, commendable. But unfortunately, all he has to give back to anything specifically relating to Red Dwarf is negativity. And that's my problem with him.
I wonder why that is, though.
I don't know. I mean, Norman's probably just one of those guys, isn't he? That, very stubborn, very proud guys. But I do think that he's treated Doug and the rest of the guys at Grant Naylor, and also his fellow cast members, specifically Bobby Llewellyn, I think he's treated them appallingly. So, I mean, Crystal Contempt, my most infamous guest, who caused quite an impression on the Smegcast, basically she said that she included Norman Lovett in a tweet the other day, just kind of hinting for him to come on here. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't really be that comfortable with interviewing him.
Oh, right. Oh, you could give him a piece of your mind, Neil.
No, I wouldn't give him a piece of my mind because it's not my fight. It's his fight. But, I just think the way he's actually handling his end of it is somewhat dodgy. And I think that as a public figure, he could be conducting himself with a little bit of more dignity. I mean, please, guys, if anybody disagrees with me on this, then please tell me.
To be honest with you, Neil, I can't disagree with you because, like I say, I've never seen any of his tweets. All I know is that
it actually started on MySpace. It all started on MySpace. He got very vocal about his fellow cast members and specifically Grant Naylor. So
you see, but to be honest with you, I've never seen him in anything else apart from that. I know he's a stand-up comic, but I mean, as far as acting is concerned, has he been in anything else?
He was pretty much a comedy staple in the 80s. You always saw him on the comedy shows. He was never on the Comedians. You remember the Comedians, don't you, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was never on that. It was always very politically incorrect, racist, sexist comedians that were on that. But Norman was on more the alternative stuff. But I recognised him because I remember I was actually watching the first episode of Red Dwarf because I heard Craig Charles was in it, and Craig Charles used to do poetry on Friday Night Live.
He's right, yeah.
He used to read poetry, and I really liked his poetry, so when I heard he was going to be in this sitcom, I made sure I watched it. And that's when my love affair with Red Dwarf started.
So at what point in your love affair with Red Dwarf did you go get that tattoo done?
When was my tattoo done? I think it was only about 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, right. So it is quite a new thing then, yeah?
Quite a new one, yeah. But, it wasn't planned. I just got the urge. And I saw the...
as you do.
I saw the logo and I thought, do you know what? That'd make a great tattoo, and it's a tattoo I could live with. I originally wanted the circle, and like the ellipsis, but that would have taken a lot of work. So I just plumped for this splat with Smeghead on it.
Yeah, and when you took the drawing to the tattoo guy and you said, "Look, I want this on me, whatever, on my arm." What actually did the tattoo guy say to you?
Well, there's a funny story behind that, because the guy who tattooed it was a guy I went to school with, and he said, "Do you know something, Neil? If anybody should wear that tattoo, it's you."
Oh well, bonus. Did he give you a discount?
He did, actually, because the tattoo should have cost £60. He did it for 40 for me, so. That's not so bad.
That's all right. You think they're getting any more?
No, but I am actually thinking of getting more, but not any more Red Dwarf ones. There's a couple of Game of Thrones ones I want.
Okay.
There's a couple of Big Lebowski ones I want, because that's my favourite film.
Yeah.
Have you I know you know him, Chris, but you other guys, have you heard of somebody called, or have you seen him mentioned, because he's like a member of Team Smeg, Chris Tajinski?
I've never heard of him.
I've seen him mentioned a few times, yeah.
Right, he has some awesome Red Dwarf tattoos. His account is protected at the moment, but I will actually just give him a DM and ask him to expect your follows, because... excuse me, he's a great guy. And you've got to see he's got a Crichton tattoo and he's got a tattoo of Starbug, and they're both fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'd have the balls to have the tattoos that he's got. I mean, I've got one tattoo myself, nothing to do with Red Dwarf, nothing to do with films or anything like that. It was done many years ago when I was a young lad. But yeah, his tattoos are absolutely fantastic. I've got to agree with that.
Yeah. You got any tattoos, guys?
No, I haven't. I've been thinking about maybe getting one, but I mean, it's just a case of whether I really want it and when I can afford it.
What do you want?
It's kind of one I've sort of put together myself. It's like a Celtic design. It's a tree of life in the middle, surrounded by like an Ouroboros snake. It's kind of like a Celtic knot design.
Ouroboros, nice Red Dwarf reference. Well, for obvious reasons, Matt, keep the design to yourself. Show it as when it's done. Because if it's your own design, I would not want it to be ripped off by anybody else. So,
I just kind of just picked 2 pictures off the internet and slapped them together. So, it's not really anything hugely unique.
Yeah, but your interpretation of it certainly would be.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, there is already actually a picture of it on my twit pic.
Oh, is there? All right. Oh, I'll have a look at that. If you want to tweet it again, that's absolutely fine then, if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, sure. I'll send it to you.
Now, Neil, tell me you've got a picture of a naked woman tattooed on your arse.
Unfortunately not.
Oh, you disappoint me.
I'd probably get my ass kicked if I did something like that.
What, where the naked woman is?
Yeah.
So she'd end up getting the kicking and not you. That's hardly politically correct, is it? It's definitely very bad. Okay, do you remember that question I asked Crystal Contempt? Which member of Red Dwarf's cast would you take home and shag? Now, I have a similar question to you, and it isn't which Red Dwarf member would you take home and shag of the 4 boys. It is which would you like to take out to dinner, Claire Grogan or Chloe Annette?
Oh.
Because you've got 2 great Kachanskis there.
Oh.
Bloody hell, it sounds like you're knocking one out there, Keith.
I'm just to be honest with you, as soon as you said which member of Red Dwarf do you want to take out and shag, I was kind of thinking of Pete Trance's sister, but there you go.
Yeah.
Before she turned into like a brain-sucking alien siren thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Anita Dobson either.
No, God, no, not Anita Dobson. No, you'd have to beat the crap out of Brian May before you got anywhere near that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that'd be, they just remind me of poodles. Anyway.
Claire Grogan.
Claire Grogan for you. Is it the Scottish accent?
Altered Images, I think.
Happy birthday.
Stop it, Neil.
Yes, okay, I will stop it. Won't sing again.
God.
Matt, Claire Grogan or Chloe Annette?
Which is the one in Series 7?
Chloe Annette.
Fair then.
There's just no argument, is there? I prefer Series 8. Series 8, Chloe.
Yeah, I just think she's a bit better looking, really.
She's gorgeous. Neil, Chloe or Claire?
Chloe for me.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, Keith. 3.
No, it's all right. That's fine. It means I don't have to jump over you guys to get to Claire. That'll do me fine.
No, I'm kind of with you in a respect, because I go back to 1981 Altered Images with her, and I thought it was great that she was Kachanski, but no, Chloe, she's just gorgeous. And the thing with Chloe is she looks like Kachanski should look, with the whole Jane Austen thing and the whole kind of quasi-Bridget Jones thing going on with her, because I drew a lot of parallels between her and Bridget Jones. I've only seen Bridget Jones like once, but...
You're lying there, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Did you sit through the whole? Did you sit through the whole of it, or did you make your excuses not to go out?
Just like early 30-something woman of the 90s, and Kachansky was kind of modelled on that sort of thing. But I thought Chloe Annette very much stepped into it with ease, and it's clear she had the camaraderie with the rest of the boys. But I think she was a poor substitute for Rimmer, because when he left, the series just was missing a huge gaping hole.
Yeah, agreed. Why did he do? Was he off doing the British Empire when that happened?
Yeah, I think certainly from my knowledge, he was sick of playing a git, and he went from one git to playing another git, basically.
Yeah.
Even though Gordon Brittis was the git with a heart of gold, he was still a git.
Yeah. I was just wondering why there was a break there. You know, if they kind of just, I don't know, if they double booked him or something like that, or his commitment lied with the British Empire and not Red Dwarf. And if that was the case, I wonder why they couldn't rescheduled one of them.
Maybe, but the story I heard at the time was that Chris Barry was tired of playing a git, so he wanted to do something else. And, you know, even though the dynamic of Kachansky coming into Red Dwarf kind of altered it a bit, it was still funny, but I think I don't know if anybody else feels the same, I just think the quality of the writing in Series 7 and 8 wasn't as good as the previous 6 series.
No, I agree with you there. Definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. They just seem to lack the same sort of quality as their previous series.
With that, it seemed that he's going through the motions with 7 and 8.
Do you think that the loss of Rob Grant obviously had something to do with it, I think, because his loss was, you know, profound. But do you think that was probably the reason why Series 7 and 8 weren't up to scratch? Or as up to scratch as Series 1 to 6?
Difficult question. Obviously, I mean, if there's a partnership and it's been broken up for any reason, the remaining partner's going to kind of struggle, I don't know, with the dynamic, I suppose. Maybe he was just trying to find his feet, and, you know, after, like I say, after a loss like that, you'd kind of half expect it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I think so anyway. It's, you know, it's like the Beatles. If they'd lost McCartney, if you believe the conspiracies, Paul McCartney died in 1966. Mm. They hired a body double or a clone or whatever to take his place. You know, if you believe that, then, you know, you're insane, but...
Yeah, what label did they sign on for? The Beatles?
Shut up. Shut up. Shut your grid.
Sorry, Neil.
It was bloody Parlophone, okay.
Oh, it is? Me thinking it was EMI. What a total smeghead.
You're a goit. You're a complete and utter. There has yet to be a word invented for what a complete utter you are, but you are one. And also one. It was bloody Parlophone, okay. When you're under those bloody hot lights and you've got a big hulking man sat 6 feet above you staring down at you over a table that you see on telly every day, these things go out of your head, you know what I mean?
And what, just like EMI just kind of pops into your head just like that, yeah?
Shut up.
Okay.
I'm being chastised on my own podcast, and this is unfair. I'm like
one of those 30 grand in the pot.
I'm like one of those useless supply teachers, aren't I?
I'll tell you what you could do to use a Crichton quote. It says it's like trying to urinate in a public toilet when a man standing next to you is 2 foot taller.
That reminds me of a story I heard. 1998 Oscars. Tom Hanks told this story. He said he was at the 1998 Oscars and he found himself in the bathroom in a stall next to Tom Selleck. And he leaned over and he said, looks like we're both a couple of peeing Toms. And Tom Selleck apparently was not impressed. And I actually really laughed when I heard that story. He told it on some talk show, but if that's true, that's just a legendary anecdote. Love it. It's like Mr. T said he wanted to open a beauty salon called I Pretty the Fool.
Oh dear. Yeah, toilet humour. You can't beat toilet humour. No. I think the last time I was giggling, I think it was at a local pub, and I have got a bladder the size of a peanut. So after about 3 or 4 pints, I know you don't drink, Neil, but after about 3 or 4 pints, I went to the bog, and I was standing at the urinal. There was like a really old guy standing next to me. Anyway, I had the piss to end all pisses. I must have been there for a good 5 minutes. And this guy was still standing there. Anyway, I kind of went away, washed my hands, came back, dried my hands, and he just looked at me and goes, "You lucky bastard. I've been here for half an hour. Bloody prostrate. It's what you've got coming, lad." And that was his final shot.
One day I was in toilet of a pub and I was sat on the toilet and it actually had a seat and it had toilet roll, which was a miracle. And I was sat there doing my business like you do. And I won't tell you what business that is. But I heard a guy come in. I heard him burp. I heard him unzip. And then silence. And then just before he started having a piss, he went like that. And I'm covering my hands in the toilet, sat there. My face is going red because I'm trying to laugh and I can't. And I'm bent over double. And this guy does like 3 rapid shot farts in a row while he's having a piss. So I'm just sat on this toilet absolutely losing it, but not daring to make a sound. All of a sudden, something dropped from my arse and went plop, and he started laughing outside. By the way, I'm editing this bit out of the podcast. Okay, so
it's brilliant. It's toilet humour, and I mean, to be honest with you, it's only us men that kind of laugh at toilet humour. Women don't kind of get the whole toilet humour thing, but yeah.
No, they don't.
It doesn't matter how old you are. When you hear a fart, you're gonna have to laugh.
Well, I will ask you all one of the questions that, and I think I may have asked you this, Neil, but I might not have done. But I'll ask you all one of the questions I ask in my 20 question episodes. Has Twitter reinforced your atheism, or has it changed your view of it?
Reinforced it, probably not. Changed it, again, probably not. I don't know if I'm an odd atheist. I can look at Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and if they get any sort of relief or happiness or I don't know, anything that they can get from believing in what they believe, then I say, good to them. What I don't agree with, and I know you touched on this, Neil, when you were talking with Crystal Concept, is this atheist plus business. I just don't understand. It's like me saying, I'm a massive Led Zeppelin fan, and somebody says, yeah, but I'm a Led Zeppelin fan plus. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're more of a Led Zeppelin? They think they're more of a Led Zeppelin? I just don't understand it at all. It just non-comprehendo. Atheism to me is it's just the way I feel. It's the way I am. I can't get to grips with an all-seeing, all-doing, all-being, invisible deity that's in the sky that kind of a lot of people believe in. From a very early age, I was like that. I can remember from the age of must have been about 12, 13, thinking that if this Jesus Christ did exist, and if he did die on a cross, then why are all these people walking around with implements of torture dangling from the neck? Do you know what I mean? I just couldn't comprehend it. It was just something. And from then, and the books I've read and the people I've talked to, I've just kind of decided it wasn't a word that I knew existed really, atheist. I just knew that I didn't believe in any of that. I just thought you live, you die, and I suppose it's the circle of life, to quote an Elton John song.
Off topic a little bit now. We had tea party for the baby yesterday.
Mm.
And the wife's grandparents, Christadelphians.
Oh, right.
The what again? The what again, sorry?
Christadelphians. I don't ask me what they are. That's what they are.
Okay.
And the eldest now, they're doing something about China or something. She was talking about China. And she was talking about, saying, Renat comes out with, Chinese people, it's the Chinese God is a dragon. Oh, this silly. They don't know what they're talking about. It's all lies. It's like, and what you preach and what they don't preach as such, and what you live your life by their rules, that isn't a pile of lies as well. I was stood there with a smirk on my face, and he just looked at me thinking, look, give me that look, don't you dare open your gob.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, again, off topic, but talking about atheism, when we got married, because Janet's family were a Catholic family, we got married in a Catholic church. It wasn't the sort of thing back then that I could have stood up and said, no. It was just, to be honest with you, we got married in the church for the family, as opposed to what me and my wife needed to do. And we had to go for lessons. Big group of us that were getting married in different months and this, that and the other. Anyway, there was this priest and he was there and he was talking about forgiveness and you've got to turn the other cheek and you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And I sat there and looked at the ceiling most of the time. Anyway, after we'd finished, we kind of walked down the stairs and there was this like 12-bore shotgun standing by the stairs there. And I said to the priest, what's that for there then? And he goes, that's in case I get burglars. I was going, oh, fantastic. You know what I mean? You're preaching turning the other cheek, but if somebody comes and breaks in your house, you're going to shoot him in the face.
As someone from, kind of the religious point of view, I kind of had those questions. And there were lots of seeds planted in my head, even as a kid. Lots of doubts, lots of contradictions. But I always thought to myself, trust in the Lord, trust in God. He will see you right. And that was always my way of dealing with it, and it was my way of dealing with it up until September the 11th, 2001.
Mm.
And then I couldn't deal with it that way anymore. So, that's basically how it went down for me.
So, so up until 2011, you were what, God-fearing, would you say, or would you say a Christian?
2001, September 11, 2001.
Sorry, 2001, yeah.
When the World Trade Center disaster happened. Yeah, up until that day, I'd had arguments with God. I think I went over this in the mini episode before my first podcast. I had kind of, what the hell have I got to do? What do you want from me? I'd stand there raging at the ceiling, and all I was really raging at was at the bloody ceiling. I realise that now, and it wasn't at anything beyond that, because there's nothing there as far as I'm concerned. Or I choose to live my life as though there is nothing there would be more accurate. But when that happened, that really caused me to think, right, well, something's wrong here. Why does God allow this? And then all the old questions started coming back into my head and the contradictions, and I started trying to justify them and rationalise them in my head, and I thought, I can't. Why? So this doesn't make sense. And that's what started it from there. And then it took 9 years for me to really think to myself, well, this doesn't make sense and it's a load of bollocks. And that's actually when, in 2010, I became an atheist.
Mm. I see. It was never a conscious choice of mine. I was never kind of a Christian, and I was never a atheist. I don't know. You're quite an outspoken atheist on Twitter, Neil. And obviously I've seen your tweets, but the only tweets I ever kind of respond to are the Christians who say, "Oh, God has got a plan," or God will love you. And I think I've tweeted a few photos of kids in Africa. They've got they're full of malnutrition. They've got flies all over them. They're on the doorstep of death for the want of clean water and food. And I'm saying absolutely no God would ever allow that. And this is what I can't believe. And it's a stock past the book answer. Oh, God has got a plan. God moves in mysterious ways. Oh, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? It's just I can't answer that question, so I'll give you this one instead. It's annoying.
It's just them justifying what's happening.
I'm not really kind of proper atheist. I'd say kind of agnostic, leaning towards atheism, really. I mean, I kind of went to church at a young age, but we kind of stopped going after a while. I think mostly because we kept complaining it was so boring. Then we kind of just started going at like Christmas time, but you don't really go to church anymore.
So you were never really devout, it was just something that you did for the sake of it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right, okay, so when did you actually think to yourself, well, hang on, this doesn't make sense?
I've always sort of been like that. I kind of see it like, if there's a God, great. If there's not, well, kind of sucks, but that's life, really.
So are you familiar with the Dawkins scale?
Yeah, I had a quick look at it earlier.
Yeah, where are you on there?
Probably about 5.5 to 6.
5.5 to 6. So you're kind of getting close to becoming a well, I hate to use the term full-blown atheist, but to becoming an atheist, basically.
Yeah, basically. I think it's kind of, since I've been talking to you guys on Twitter, it's kind of been going, it's sort of more and more, I suppose, convincing in a way.
A lot of theists who engage me on Twitter, they, throw something at the Bible at me. And I just say something to them like, do you really believe that Jesus would curse a fig tree for not bearing fruit and the fig tree withers? Do you really believe that happened? And they're like, yeah.
Well, nobody can really say for sure. Because, I mean, it's a book that's so old and, things get lost in translation and it's been changed so much over the centuries. People adding and taking things to kind of make it sound better. So how can you really put all your faith in such a book?
I mean, as you say, it's been translated so many times. The term that I grew up and Keith grew up with, and I'm sure you guys grew up with, is Chinese whispers. I know it's kind of not really politically correct to call it that now. I think they call it telephone now. But I think that's the syndrome that the Bible suffers from. I think just going back to Red Dwarf, the page at the beginning, all characters and all events in this work are completely fictitious.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Classic line, yeah.
I think there's also the fact that it comes from a time where people are so superstitious and, a love of storytelling as well.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the whole concept of God started with, people trying to grow crops or just, or people who, were afraid of the weather, were afraid of rain, and postulating whether it's actually a man in the sky that's sending them thunder and lightning, sending them tornadoes, sending them hurricanes.
Sending them floods.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Christians, certainly New Orleans, Mississippi, big Bible state.
Yeah.
Yet God sent them Hurricane Katrina, and they're like, well, it's caused so much devastation, so much death, but that's okay, God, it's your will.
Yeah, I just don't get that.
The contradictions are staring these people in the face, but unfortunately, they can't see the wood for the trees. Christ, that sounds like something Ray Comfort would say.
I think, yeah. I think kind of Americans in particular are just so confounded in their beliefs, they just will not move.
But
Yeah.
like I say, though, I mean, if it gives them comfort, or for whatever they believe in, if it gives them comfort, and the people I've got a problem with are the people that kind of come knocking, the proper preachers, the preachers come knocking on your door and, spouting hell and damnation and this, that and the other. They're the ones that I've got problems with. Your quiet, little old lady who toddles off to church every Sunday. To be, it'll be more of a community for her. It's the fact that she's going to go meet people and talk and this, that, and the other. I've got no problems with that, but I do realise that when people get older, they kind of do start hedging the bets.
Okay, hear what you're saying, Keith. As Brits, and I'll ask you all this question, and this is for the benefit of anyone listening outside the UK. What's the longest running religious programme on BBC television?
Songs of Praise.
Thank you. That was you, Matt, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Songs of Praise has been running for donkey's years, for ages, okay? It's a regular Sunday night staple. It's probably on tomorrow night, even though they funked it up and brought it more into the 21st century. Probably the only thing about religion that it has been brought into the 21st century is songs of smegging praise. Anyway.
Pimp up my songs of praise. That's classic.
Yeah.
They got Eminem on the altar or something, have they? What's going on there?
They'll start rapping some songs.
Forgive me, God, you motherfucker. Stuff like that. Yeah. Anyway. Right, you've got Songs of Praise. If you have a generic satellite receiver, I won't bother giving them, the publicity, but if you have a satellite or a free television receiver, you will see quite a lot of religious channels on TV. Yet not one dedicated to secularism or atheism. I think the nearest thing we have to that, as I said on a previous episode, is The Atheist Experience, which comes out of Austin, Texas. But we have religious television programming, as well as a reminder of religion wherever we look, because I think most people, if they look out the windows, they can see a church.
No, I'm safe.
Well,
So am I.
I am as well, to be honest.
Well, I've got to kind of crane my neck, but yeah. But the good thing about that, though, Neil, is where there's a church, there's always a pub. And I know you're a teetotal, but I mean, it's great for me. Because if you're ever lost somewhere, you go to the nearest church and you go, right, in about 100 yards there's going to be a pub, and you usually find there either is or there was.
No, but my point about it is, it's nice if it brings them comfort. Yeah, I understand that. But the comfort that they have is a lie. And the comfort that they have is something that they've not been educated about enough, and that they can't see the contradictions, the fallacies, the illogic, if you like, in what they believe. So I think that the cause of secularism, the cause of humanism, the cause of atheism should be more mainstream. And it gives people an alternative to say, okay, this is what you've been brought up to believe. This is how the world really is.
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I mean, 2 years ago I had to put the little lad into school. The schools that we had to go to were they're religious schools. They're either a Catholic school or they're a C of E school. There's no atheist schools. There's no atheist schools out there, or if there is, there's absolutely none near us. So it's the same story, isn't it? I mean, it's the thing that if the priest or the vicar gets them young enough, then, it's another member of their flock. I mean, we're quite lucky. The school that the little lad goes to now, they teach all religions. They teach all religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, all religions, but it's still religions. And I've got to fend off questions when he comes home from school, like, why have angels got wings? Why did Jesus die on the cross and all this business? And I just say, he's such a young age now that I can't say, oh look, it's a complete load of bollocks. Don't listen to that. You've got to answer their questions, because the one thing I don't want is him going back to school the following day and said, my dad said it's a load of bollocks. To be honest with you, I wish that they could just let them make up their own minds. They don't preach religion. They don't do anything to do with religion. When they're old,
it's certainly in the faith-based system, and I know this having gone through the faith-based school system. There is nobody teaching reason and logic and humanism, secularism, atheism. There is nobody giving them an alternative that all of this just might be a load of bollocks.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? The only people that can do that are the parents. And I actually know 2 people who homeschool their children because they will not put them through the faith-based school system that we have currently in the town I live in.
Yeah, well, fair play to them. Absolutely fair play to them.
Well, would it be... Neil, you have children. Would that be something you would ever consider in order for them to avoid the faith-based system?
Probably not, no, because, as I said, the wife's grandparents are religious. And my wife herself, she did grew up with them being all religious. You do this, you do the camps, you do that. But at the end of the day, she's been through it all. She doesn't believe.
Yeah.
And it's not down to the school what they teach at the end of the day. The government give them a set curriculum. You've got to teach this, and this to get them to this standard. So, personally, my kids go to a Welsh school. Welsh schools do have a tendency to be more, how can I put this, higher end with regards to religious type festivals. So they do teach they've gone through all different religions. They do this, they do that, they do this, they do the other.
Do they promote religion, though, in the school? Do they kind of encourage, when I say promote, do they encourage children to believe?
Not as far as we can make out, no. They use the local churches for the shows, the festivals and all that, and they ask for a donation as goodwill, but they don't, as far as I'm aware, they don't promote it, or they don't actively promote it within children anyway.
What's your view on this, Matt? Do you think that people should be allowed to homeschool their children rather than send them through the faith-based system?
I think it can be a choice, but I think it's good for the kids to actually go to school and for the actual interaction with the other children. It's actually good for them. As far as faith-based, I think it is important to really teach religious studies in the school, just so they have an understanding of kind of what's out there and what different people believe.
I agree. There are positives to sending a child into the faith-based system in that, as Keith said, they teach all different religions, and presumably now, I mean, I don't have children, but presumably Neil and Keith, you could educate me on this. Presumably they just present the information and say it's up to you what you do with it.
No, they cherry pick. What they do is they take the nice stories. I mean, a lot of Christians on Twitter, they cherry pick. They'll tell you the nice bits. What they don't do is they don't look at the Old Testament, the God of wrath, the God of the God of war, the God of hatred, the God of this, that, and the other. They cherry pick. They take the nice bits out. To be honest with you, a lot of the parables. It's a story. At the end of the day, it's a story that's got like a life message. You do. If you walk past somebody that's kind of fallen down in the road and they're hurt, you would go over and you would help them up. But that's not a Bible thing. That's just being a human. That's what I've got a problem with the Bible. It's like telling you how to be, and everybody should know how to be a human. If there was somebody collapsed on the road, if you read the Bible or you don't read the Bible, you're going to go over and you're going to help them.
Yeah.
Anybody with any sense of who they are, of what they are, being a human, would go over and help them. It doesn't necessarily mean that because you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim or this, that, and the other that you've got to go over and help them. You shouldn't need to be told that that's what to do. You should know that that's the thing to do.
I'm in total agreement with you. I often thought when I was a Christian that the Bible was the manual of life. Do you know when you pick up a new stereo, or you pick up a new gadget, and I don't know if you're like, I just like to get in there and learn, but some people like to read the instruction book. I always thought of the Bible as life's instruction book. But now I realised it's life instructions book according to a set of beliefs that cannot be justified. I think it's very much a book of, in case you don't learn this stuff through life, here's how you should act, and here's how you should conduct yourself. Okay? Now, I think if we eradicated that manual and called it obsolete and just gave it a go ourselves and see how we actually treat each other as a species without this manual to rely on, I think we'd probably treat each other a bit better.
It's worrying because it's like
just me.
It's worrying because there's an agenda, isn't it? It's like them saying, if you don't do this, then there's this fiery place where some red guy with horns is going to stick you up the arse with a trident.
And
it's like that.
Yeah, that's another thing. But carry on.
It's like I say, it should be ingrained from a very early age that we're all humans. You know, we all reside on this planet, and we should help each other out. We should help each other out. We shouldn't need to be told it. We should know it instinctively that we're all.
Okay, what's the first thing as parents, Neil and Keith, and certainly Matt, if you had children? Every woman has maternal instincts. Every man has paternal instincts. You know, it's ingrained in us. Okay. You fetch up your child. You bring up your child. Now, first of all, your child knows that it's being taken care of, whether it can understand English or whether it can understand what you're saying to it. It knows it's being taken care of. So that in itself is one of life lessons ingrained, is the concept of caring for people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a Bible for that.
Certainly not.
Because that's something that you're already used to. And particularly, you know, if you're in a loving family, you were brought up with kindness. And because you have so much kindness, it inspires you, or it inspires 99% of us, to pay that kindness forward to other people. Now, a book can't teach you that. Experience teaches you that.
Absolutely.
Also, seeing how people close to you treat other people teaches you how to treat other people.
The crux happens though, Neil, when, I mean, both my parents died. My mum died last year. My dad died about 4 years ago. Trying to explain to a little lad that he's never going to see his grandpa or his grandma again. When they come back from school, they say, "Oh, well, you know, grandma and grandpa are in the sky and they're looking down at us." Now, you don't want to completely shatter that illusion, because it's a nice illusion for a little child to believe. You know, it'd be nasty for me to say, "Oh no, they're not up there. They're not looking down on you. They've just gone. They're dead. You'll never see them again. That's it."
So there's a quote that I absolutely love, that kind of inspires me, and it's something that I think may help. I don't think it will do the full job, but the quote is, "If the people we love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them. Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever."
Is right. And that's what I say to my little lad. I said, "No, Nanny and Grandad have never gone because you keep them in your heart. And if you think about them every day, they're never dead."
They stay alive in your memories. And
is right.
In this age of technology, they'll go beyond that, and they will stay alive in the form of media.
Is right.
And they will never leave you. Now, unfortunately for myself, in 2 days it will have been 25 years since my dad died. We didn't have any of that. All I have is one photograph of him on his wedding day, not to my mum, but to the lady he was married before my mum. And that's all I have of him, and he looks fresh-faced and a 20-year-old green kid. But that's my only picture of him. But he lives on in my memory. I mean, I don't know, Neil, Matt, what your feelings are about this. Whether, you know, children should really be confronted with the truth as we know it, rather than what they've been taught may be a false illusion.
I think you need to wait till they're old enough to make their own mind up about it.
I agree.
I mean, you can't go tell an 8, 7, 6-year-old that's the end of it. They need some kind of hope to go along with, and even if it's only just 2, 3, 4 years, you know, when they get older and they learn about different things and the way they happen.
Have you had any conversations with your children about religion, Neil?
No, because we have the attitude we're just going to let them take their own path. We're not going to put... No, they tend to argue with us, then we'll pass on to the grandparents.
Right. Okay.
If you want answers, you can go and ask them, you know, it's...
So if your kids grew up believing in God or believing in some religion, even Scientology, even alien even lords, overlords, would you have a problem with that?
Not at all.
Okay, that's fine.
It's their own personal belief, so as long as they don't try and preach it to me, I don't care.
Right, okay. But yeah, I think that's the right idea. Let them find their own way. But give them the information, educate them as to, basically what you believe the truth to be. And I know you're an atheist, Neil, so...
Yeah, when they're old enough, it's no issue, but trying to sit down now, it'd be a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Especially going back into school saying, well, my dad's told me this, my dad tells me that. You go to your grandparents, my dad says this, my dad says that. It's just not worth the hassle.
Mm. If they came to you, I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I'll be perfectly honest with you, and you, Keith, and I'm sorry to leave you out, Matt, but I don't think you've got kids, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay. But I think that if they're smart kids, they'll figure it out for themselves.
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah. You guys follow some Twitter atheists. Who do you follow? Matt, first of all, you.
Well, my kind of first proper atheist I followed was you. And,
was it? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the Red Dwarf connection?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
So
right.
I remember it was kind of, like you doing like a couple of trolls at the time. And then I kind of said something. He sort of backlashed a bit, but I kind of just said, just having a laugh with you. And then kind of with regards to atheists, I've just kind of followed, people you've mentioned on the Smegcast.
So people like Franco Soup and Mr. Oz Atheist. If you're not following Mr. Oz Atheist, please. I mean, he's got like over 65,000 followers, but he's got over 65,000 followers for a reason.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him a look up.
Yeah, he's amazing. Cherokee Autumn, that's another great atheist tweeter. These people, Godless Spellchecker, who is hilarious.
Yeah, he is hilarious, I must admit, he is good.
Yeah, everyone who misspells the word atheist and puts the I before the E, it's kind of a hitch slap, a Twitter hitch slap that he gives them with the correct spelling. So... What about you, Neil? Who do you follow atheist-wise, apart from my good self?
Pretty much the same, whether, people you've mentioned, people you've suggested to follow, or retweeted.
Now, we're all following Crystal, aren't we?
We are, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When I met Crystal, I think she had less than 100 followers. And I think she's coming up to 1,000 now, which I think is wonderful. Her battles with the block botters in the Atheism Plus that Keith touched on. Her battles with the block botters are absolutely legendary. It was her that made the comparison between her with Vita Brevi and Bette Midler.
Yeah, that was class. That was classic. That I don't understand that. It's like you can kind of flip it on your head and say I'm a Christian. Well, I'm a Christian plus. It just makes no sense to me at all. By putting a plus sign against something, what does it mean? It's like I don't know. It baffles me. Absolutely baffles me.
It gives you the hologram sticker.
I think it's because they're trying to say it's something a bit more, so plus something, but it's probably not.
Well, basically, it was atheism plus pro-social justice, pro-LGBT, anti-Semitism, anti-bigotry, anti-racism. They were basically atheism plus all of these virtues, which I find nothing wrong with, because most committed atheists or most passionate atheists are these things anyway. So why they needed a movement about it, I don't know, but that caused divisions. The other thing that was incredibly divisive was an offshoot of Atheism Plus, which was the Blockbot.
I thought you were going to say Atheism Plus Plus then, or something like, or Atheism Plus Minus with a division sign and an exclamation mark, or I mean, it's true, don't it? Where do you stop with all this? I mean,
where do you draw the line?
Yeah, maybe Atheism Light.
Atheism. Yeah.
I mean, these people refer to people like me who go off on one and go on with themselves on Twitter about religion and about the contradictions and the fallacies of religion, and they refer to people like me as a vanilla atheist. Well, if that's what it takes to be a vanilla atheist, then I am one big ice cream eating motherfucker.
Yeah, it's beyond me, Neil, to be honest with you. I know I don't believe in God, and that's about it. I don't need a plus sign after any tweets that are sent. I mean, I suppose in a way I'm a kind of quiet atheist. I don't preach. I don't kind of go out there and court debate or anything like that. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I just know that I believe a lot of other things. I believe that are kind of not run of the mill, if you like, but I just don't understand any of that. I really don't. It baffles me. It really does baffle me.
Yeah. Do you guys think that mankind will ever evolve to a time, or a time will pass, where religion is completely eradicated, or do you think it's just going to get worse and worse and worse?
Oh, good question. No, I think religion will always have a part. There'll always be some religions, maybe not the old religions. There may be like Scientology, maybe. I don't know, but I can't envisage a world where people will not believe in some deity. I don't think this is a kind of a scathing sort of thing, but I don't think the majority know. I don't think a lot of people can kind of educate themselves away from a religion, especially if they've been brought up in a devout Christian, a devout Muslim, a devout Hindu.
I mean, there are religions we don't even know about yet, probably practiced out in the backwoods of Louisiana, where you have to mate with turnips. You know.
Might be a Welshman somewhere there with some sheep.
Yeah.
We won't mention.
Yeah.
We won't mention Wales in the sheep connection, Neil. Don't worry.
I've heard it all before. It's all right.
That would just be bad. Anyway.
Neil, get your coat.
Getting me coat. No, sorry. I sidetracked us then from quite a serious discussion. Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys believe that we will ever be in a world without religion, as John Lennon, famously pleaded with us?
I mean, it's possible. If you get, well, not that we'll ever see it, but if everything gets wiped out and they start all over again through an ice age or something like that, then unless you got some kind of artifact somewhere saying this is what you should believe, then it's got to be started from the ground up again, hasn't it?
Yeah, or if we're all wiped out by some communicable disease that just wipes out most of the population. Stephen King's prophecy coming through there. You see, that should be that should be the real end of days, not Revelation. Shouldn't it? Plague. Best way to wipe us all out. Anyway. Sorry, mate.
No, I was just saying, what's the best way to wipe us all out then, Neil? In your humble opinion, what would be the best way to wipe us all out?
Plague.
Do you reckon?
It's quick. I don't know. Why?
Quick?
It's quick.
Well, it's kind of quick, depending on how, Oh, City are winning. Brilliant. We're playing Chelsea. We're winning. Yes! Nice one. It's all right. I get notifications.
Multitasking.
Sky Sports.
Oh yeah, you see, there's another religion, football. Don't agree with that either, but there you go. That's a discussion for another podcast.
Listen, I've been a Manchester City fan since I was knee-high to a fucking gnat. I will always be a Manchester City fan.
Okay.
So,
what do they do there? Where do they play? Is that Main Road, is it they play?
Oh, get with the programme, mate.
I don't do football. I do not do football. Okay. You see, my dad was a professional referee. Mm-hmm. And my mum always used to tell me a story. When I was in my cot, hours old, my dad came and presented me with this bloody great big leather Casey football. And she reckons I was so fucking scared of this bloody great big thing in me cot that I've never liked football since.
I do have one request.
What?
I I was asked to get another word out there after twunt became a bit of phenomenon. Phenomenon.
That sounds like that Muppet song, doesn't it? Phenomenon.
Do 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 do.
Phenomenon. Right, what is this word of which you speak, Mr. Neely Barry 1984, sir?
I think we'll use twazzock this time.
Yeah, I can see that. Twazzock.
Twazzock.
We'll get that right there this time.
A mixture of twat and wazzock. I've not heard wazzock since a certain #1 single set to the backdrop of the Hovis theme.
Wazzock. My God, you're going back a bit there, Neil.
Just a bit. You great big idle ugly wart. You great useless spawny-eyed parrot-faced wazzock.
Classic.
Do you remember that one, Keith?
I do. Hashtag
Tony
Twazzock.
Hashtag Twazzock. Right.
Get it trending.
Sensational. Neil, what music are you going to kick it off with?
What about the Red Dwarf theme sung by Elvis and Meltdown?
You know what you could start it off with? Your farts.
Do you know something? I actually could edit them all in.
There you go.
But we're not going to have the fart discussion on the podcast. I'm going to edit that out because...
What? That was the best bit.
He wants to live to actually see the feedback on this one first.
I have some...
Did you say feedback then or follow through?
Oh my God, this is by far the most surreal podcast I've done yet. It's... Oh my goodness me. How the fuck am I going to edit this? Do you know what? I just might not. I might just leave it.
Oh crap. Oh crap.
I might just leave it, warts and all. Keith's piss and all. Okay, guys, is there anyone on Twitter you want to give a shout out to?
Crichton K.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
Crichton
go with
K.
that.
Ramesses?
And Ramesses and everybody else who follows me and knows me.
Right.
Godless
Neil?
Gilbert.
Godless Gilbert, of course. Ramesses, yeah. Good guy.
Craig didn't get one just for Spearhead 3. I said I mentioned Spearhead 3. So there we go.
Okay, Matt.
Well, God's Gilbert again. So he's getting a good rap this evening, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He deserves it. He's a good guy. I'll just give a couple of shout-outs to Dave Lister RD, Holly Red Dwarf RD, and, of course, to Doug Naylor, Craig Charles, Danny John Jules, Chris Barry, Robert Llewellyn, Hattie Hayridge, and even Norman Lovett.
Wow. Hattie Hayridge, absolutely. Mwah.
Yeah. Give shout-out to those guys, because without that, there would not be a Godless Smegcast. There probably would be a generic vanilla atheist cast.
Plus.
Plus. And it's my mission to spread the word of Red Dwarf. That's not my religion. It's just something great that people can watch and have a laugh with. And if it brings happiness to their life, all the better. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. We've had a fucking laugh on this. It's been... hopefully people will tune into it to hear laddish shit going on.
Yeah.
If I decide to leave all the toilet humour stuff in, then I'll let you know. Okay. I might just...
now you've mentioned it.
We'll see. No, seriously, guys, hope you've enjoyed yourselves. I've certainly enjoyed having you on. Thank you very much for your time tonight. And I'll speak to you all probably individually again on the podcast in the future. Okay?
Excellent, Neil. Thanks very much.
Okay, cheers, guys.
See you later. See you later, Neil. Ta-ra now.
Guys, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's cold outside, there's no kind of atmosphere I wanna know, more or less. Let me fly far away from here, far in the sun. I want to lie shipwrecked in comatose, drinking fresh mango juice, goldfish shows, living on my toes.
Hello and welcome to the Godless Smegcast Easter egg, or, if you're a fan of the Marvel Universe, the after credit scene. Mr. Slicks1812, or Matt, as you probably prefer to be known.
Well,
Please,
either.
or either. Please give us your best Crichton impression.
It's like, I've never seen one before. No one has. But I'm guessing it's a white hole.
A white hole?
Yes. See.
I got you there, didn't I?
Oh.